Blue Exorcist is back with another amazing chapter, and man was this one very intense, and I'm also slightly concerned for Kanto Sensei's health after reading this chapter, which, when we get to that section, we will get to it. Also, if you haven't already known, the Blue Exorcist anime came back with Season 3, so go ahead and take a look at it. It's covering the Illuminati arc, and so far, I'm pretty happy with the adaptation so far. I might make a whole video once the season is over. I'm currently making shorts on each episode if you want to check out just what happens in each episode for like a brief summary. Also, this might be my last Blue Exorcist review for a little while now, depending on how this does, as the reviews have not been doing too well on the channel lately, probably because they're monthly, and we're also having a break in March, and the next chapter won't be out till April, so let's see how things play out during the next few months. But with that out of the way, let's just get right into the chapter, shall we? Chapter 148 of Blue Exorcist of One Cloth Combat Ability. We start off with Ossiah on the ground with his arm severed, as his name is being called out by lightning, as he isn't able to respond, wondering if he is actually dead. I would then get a flashback to Ossiah in his youth talking to his grandmother. This then begins a flashback throughout Ossiah's youth. We see him as a child being told not to fear death and that they will be returning to Tawa once they end up losing their lives after they were given life by Tawa. This gives Ossiah the question, how will I die? As we begin to have a brief montage and snippets of Ossiah's life as he leaves his town, goes to a city, and also ends up encountering spirits, and sooner ends up encountering the Knights of True Cross and becomes a member. He soon meets a woman at a bar, gets married, and has a child. It even states after this, he began to figure out an idea on how he would eventually die. But one day he begins to leave home as his daughter is reaching out to him, but he leaves. As it is revealed that later on, in the end, he ended up getting addicted to alcohol and was stuck in his work, eventually causing rift between him and his wife, and so she left him, presumably with his daughter. And so he ended up falling back into more and more alcohol. Ossiah begins to say that we live in order to die. I no longer cared when or how I would die. But then, we cut to a night where he goes to a house, as the Knights of True Cross have been called to investigate something. The police end up escorting Ossiah into the house and saying that there are deceased residents, 4 of them plus 7 adults, but a child managed to survive. And apparently this was the work of a cult, and they had been worshipping demons. And it looks like they confused and abused this child that was in the basement. The cops said that they wanted to get closer to the kid, but they couldn't due to the demons. And so we see a little child off in the corner in rags in a destroyed area surrounded by some of the dead bodies with some little lights surrounding him. Presumably some of the demon sylphs that will be seen. And this is where we meet Lewin Light when he was a child, where Ossiah met him for the first time, as it seems he was a victim of a cult that worshipped and tried to summon demons. And so he was definitely physically and mentally abused by these people. He was even chained to the floor. As Lightning is mumbling to himself, presumably talking to these demons, Ossiah tries to ask for his name, asking if he summoned these sylphs and if he learned it all by himself. Lightning says that he's not possessed by demons, as Ossiah just says, yeah, I know, I have come to help you. But Lightning just calls him out and says, you're lying, you're an exorcist. As he says, please, King of Spirits, as he unleashes a giant energy wave, pushing back Ossiah and destroying the surrounding area. One of the knights ends up asking what happened, as apparently Lightning summoned Azazel, the King of Spirits, and he's just a kid. Lightning is underneath the rubble, and it's stated that that boy is dangerous. But Ossiah thought to himself, and he ended up taking in Lightning, as he just started to raise him as his own, cleaned him up, took him to a dentist, and telling him you have to care for people who are sad and suffering. And I just like how Lightning as a kid just asking Ossiah a bunch of different questions, like why this, why that, like any child would when a parent is trying to explain just the basics of what is going on. As Ossiah just says, it's just because you have to, and I just kind of like that. Really sells that Ossiah was literally raising Lightning like his own kid. And so we smash cut to the future a little bit more, as Lightning as a older kid, as he just says, yeah, that's why my parents chained me up. As we see, he's in the kitchen, draining blood from a bunch of animals with papers all over the place, presumably doing research, shocking Ossiah as he just drops his bag to the ground. So it's very possible that Lightning did have the affinity to talk to these demons, and so he just did a bunch of stuff that got their attention, and so his parents had to lock him up in the basement because they were afraid of him. Whether I liked it or not, life got a little more interesting. As he then realized something, as Lightning was a bit older, we see him smiling and thanking Osceola. We then exit the flashback as we see Osceola waking up from his little unconscious coma, as we then see that Amon's giant supernova has reached an enormous size, showing that a long time has definitely passed since he lost consciousness. Osceola then sees that Asmodeus is continuously slashing at the ice barrier that Shira created, as she can't really do anything to stop him right now. Amon is just sitting on a rock kind of bored, wondering if Asmodeus is so excited that he can't even see the supernova. But he says who cares, and then notices Osceola struggling to get back up, saying that it's gross and he should just die already. Osceola gets up, coughs on blood, and says, "Yeah, I can do that. Why do you insist on living even if it means resisting? Me? This is where I die." As he smiles with blood coming from his mouth, with Amon wondering what he's saying, and Lightning in his ear listening to what he is beginning to say, asking, "What did you just say?" As he cries out, "Don't use your war cry." As Osceola takes out one of the chocolate bars that he has inside of his jacket and takes a bite out of it, with Lightning still on the back of that horse, stating, "Don't do it." As Bond behind him is wondering what's going on with Lightning, as obviously Lightning is incredibly concerned, as he warned Osceola not to use that to begin with, as he then chomps down onto it, as we then get a huge burst of energy. Osceola then begins to chant, "Lead me spirit, earth, and cosmos," as his hair then comes off and begins to burn, as he says, "Grant me the time of red light," as a dark energy begins to spread across his body, changing him. As he says, "And strength beyond compare." He now turns into a giant dark beast, as he says, "Kalete Tawa," as he then just shouts in the area, destroying everything with just his roar and the sheer force that has emerged once he achieves this new transformation. As this is his war cry, as this does surprise Amon, and this is where I get concerned for Kato Sensei's health, as the next batch of pages is just unfinished sketches. Now, to an extent, this does showcase how terrifying and strong this power is. However, it is very obvious that she probably did not have the time to finish drawing these pages, which is concerning. It might also be why we're having a break next month. So, Amon is like, all you did was get bigger, as then he is punched into the ground by Osceola, and then dragged from the ground incredibly quickly, and then tossed into the air through a bunch of rocks and into the mountainside. As this catches the attention of Rin and Yukio, as they see Osceola just charging and barraging through, grabbing Amon, tossing him and punching him into the side, as they have no idea what's going on. Amon is then hit repeatedly against the wall, punched, and then thrown across the battlefield once again. The arc gets back to normal, as Rin is wondering, wow, he's tough, but he seems kind of different, almost kind of scary. And Yukio explains that it's probably due to the substance in the chocolate bar he has, and that is his war cry. Yukio then explains that it's a technique using a spiritual stimulant to induce physically enhancement through demonic possession. Exorcists can create such substances, but some cultures have traditional mixtures. The order currently forbids them. And Ren's like, but using them would make us stronger, right? As Yukio says, yeah, but in exchange for inhuman combat ability, you lose your humanity and you die. As this was literally why Lightning ended up asking Osceola not to use this. Rin shouts out to Osceola as he's running towards Amon again, who is charging up a barrage of fireballs to launch right at him, saying, "If you can stand up to the Sun King, you're too much." As Osceola then just roars and it shatters the sun balls that were launched right at him. He then goes in and grabs Amon by the chest, with the final page of the chapter being Amon saying, wait, that hurts. That really hurts, as Osceola just tears him in half, shouting as he does so, seemingly defeating the King of the Sun, ending the chapter. And man, that was intense. We had to see a big part of Osceola's backstory and life leading up to his meeting with Lightning, and how the two of them developed a father-son relationship, showcasing why they've been so close, and also why Lightning just begged him not to use the war cry from the start of this whole assault. And now we know why. It is literally his last stand, his last resort, his trump card that he uses in exchange for his life. Now, me and others of the series do not want Osceola to die, but I do feel like that the death flags were there. He was told not to use a certain technique. He was being held previously. We had a heartfelt and tragic backstory leading up to his current relationship with his basically adoptive son, as he lost an arm and he was bleeding out. So, and the flashback had a lot of themes of like, you know, when I would die, my visions of dying and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's definitely going to die, which is sad because he literally grew to be one of my favorite characters throughout this arc, and it'd be sad to see him go, but it would also show the sheer tragedy of this whole war that they're currently going in, and some losses are definitely going to be needed in order for the story's stakes to really play up, because they're literally taking on the literal devil's castle right now. But that's basically it. This was a big action-packed chapter. I'm concerned for Kato Sensei's health, since a lot of some pages were just mainly sketches and weren't finished, so that's most likely why we got a break. But I'm excited to see what happens next, because now with Amon seemingly defeated, the supernova is probably going to disappear, and Osceola will probably go on to help Shura and take on Asmodeus, and then after that, he will most likely meet his end. Probably with Lightning coming in to just see him in his final moments, basically ditching his plan just to see is his father figure, his basically dad, just share his final words. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy this chapter, Plexus? Did you enjoy Osceola's war cry transformation? And do you think he's actually going to die within the next chapter or two? And let me know what you guys think is going to happen within the next couple of chapters. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys you enjoy the content I make here on the channel and you want to see more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.